Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
What's up, podcast family? Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 419. I'm Phil Graham, and today I want to talk about why so many Facebook and Instagram ads are still failing in 2025. I'm so glad you guys are here. In the US, next Monday is Memorial Day. Can you believe it? This year is flying by. I hope you're having a great week, though. And I wanted to talk about this topic because it is so important. Facebook ads can be very challenging, yet I still see a lot of advertisers making the same mistakes this year in 2025 that might have been killing their ad performance or somebody else's ad performance years ago. So if your ads aren't doing as well as you would like them to do, then this episode could be for you. And I really want to talk about some of the biggest reasons why I believe so many Facebook ads fail and how advertisers can hopefully turn that around. Now, before we jump into that, if you are looking for any help with your ads, maybe you want some one-on-one consulting, I truly believe it's the best way in the world to learn this stuff because it's hands-on in your account in real time. No PowerPoint or Keynote slides. It's hands-on. So if you're looking for some of that, or maybe you want somebody to just run your ads for you so you don't have to worry about it, for either one of those things, you can go to my website, philgrahamdigital.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I would be happy to connect with you. Now, before we jump in, I briefly just wanted to mention the 4 things I'm going to talk about today are extremely important. But there's always variables. So does that mean that if you follow all 4 of these things, you're automatically going to have success? No, of course not. Like only scammers would tell you that because that's not true. However, I will say in running ads for lots of years, I believe these 4 things I'm going to share have caused lots of ads to fail. And I don't want you to go down that road. It's normal to have some failure, but you want to learn from it and get better. So let's jump in and let's talk about number 1. One of the biggest things that I believe can make ads fail are weak hooks or even no hooks in your creative, whether that's in your video, your headline, or the beginning of your ad copy. When people scroll through Facebook and Instagram and Threads, they ruthlessly scroll. They're looking for something that catches their attention. And if you don't have a great hook, forget about it. It doesn't matter how good a product or service you have. They're not going to notice. They're not going to pay attention. And then you're going to probably lose. You've got to have not only a hook, something that really gets their attention, but it needs to be a strong hook. So when it comes to hooks, one of the common issues, one of the biggest things I see, if people have them at all, is that they're typically focused on either you, like how great you are, or how great your company is, or product or service, or they're focused way too much on your product or service's features, which people don't really care that much about. You know what they care about? They care about themselves. They care about how can they better their life? How can your product or service make them happier, look better, make more money, whatever the case may be, however you help them. That's what they care about. So what's the solution to this? It's using bold hooks at the beginning of your ads. Maybe doing something that they don't expect. So many ads are just boring, same old kind of stuff. Put a hook in there that is like a pattern interrupt that surprises people they're not used to seeing or hearing. I like to ask questions in headlines because sometimes if you ask the right question, that can really focus somebody on what's really important. And also when you're developing your hooks, think about the benefits of your product or service, not the features, and how it can help your customers or clients, and try and have that in your hook. And the places where hooks are, your headline is a hook. Whether you think it is or not, it is. When you have your ad copy above your creative, above your video or image, that ad copy, the first thing it says is a hook. Even when you do a video ad, record a video, the first couple seconds of your video is a hook. So make sure that you not only have a hook, but you have a strong hook and that it's focused on what matters most to your customers and clients. And I would recommend starting it with a question or a bold statement or a combination of both. But again, make sure that it benefits them and that it's not clickbait. The second reason I see a lot of ads failing is because there's bad targeting going on. So a lot of times there's either way too much reliance on huge broad audiences like Advantage Plus and no other audiences, or the opposite, vice versa. So what I like to do is I like to do a series of audiences, large and small, broad and segmented, obviously cold audiences and warm audiences. A lot of people ignore a lot of those audiences, which can be a big mistake in many situations. So I would not recommend just going with one audience and never testing anything else, because I think that's a big mistake. I think that's something that could absolutely cause a lot of ads to fail. So really what you want to do is you want to build a system for testing audiences, and you want to let them run for a while so you know whether they worked or not. I would test some large audiences that are broad, along with some smaller segmented audiences based off of behaviors and demographics and other things like that. Obviously, you want to test lookalikes, and you want to test warm audiences as well. And just in case you missed it, just a couple of weeks ago, I did an entire podcast episode on 3 warm audiences that can be really great that a lot of people miss out on. So if you did not hear that, make sure you go check that one out as well. Okay, the third reason I see a lot of ads fail is that there's not really a strategy to the offer in an ad, whether you're making an offer in that specific ad at the top of the funnel, or you're coming behind it through retargeting and you're making an offer. You're just generally running ads to products, but not a specific offer. So you want to have a clear reason to act now. You want to have like a sense of urgency. So many ads have no sense of urgency, no reason to buy now, no reason to even pay attention. Now, that doesn't mean that we have a sense of urgency in everything we run, because that's not going to work well either, most likely. So we do run ads where there's no sense of urgency, but we definitely build ads that have offers that will solve problems and have some kind of a sense of urgency for a certain period of time. And we work those in with our other types of ads. Whether that sense of urgency is a special sale, maybe something additional you're packaging or bundling with it that they get, or something else, just give them a reason to buy. Sometimes even just creating a sale based off of the type of season that we're in is a good enough reason for some people, but just randomly running ads without a strategy and without any kind of a sense of urgency at all ever can be something that can definitely negatively affect your ads. Now, that's not always the case. I can think of certain situations where that would not be true. But for a lot of you guys, that might give you a very negative result with your ads if you don't do it. So I recommend with your ads, work some ads in that have a sense of urgency, a strategy, and a specific clear offer, not just a product ad, but an offer that highlights the benefits and gives them an offer with a deadline. And then last, but certainly not least, this is one of the most important ones that people have the most problem with. And that is, I believe a lot of ads fail because people misread the data, or they don't even pay attention to the data. And so few people are actually good at that. That's the problem. So misreading the data, I see a lot of people focusing on the wrong numbers, like maybe looking at return on ad spend after 2 days and then making a decision that fast. Or they're ignoring a click-through rate or not paying attention to CPM. They're turning ads off too soon. Some they might be letting run too long. There's all kinds of issues from not being good at reading the data. So what you want to do is you want to get really good at data evaluation. You want to let things run long enough to know whether they work well or not. I had a situation recently where we launched an ad for a client, and after about 4 days, a specific ad wasn't doing as well as the one we were testing it against, and the client wanted to turn it off. And I recommended we didn't because it hadn't had enough time to cycle through enough audience. So fast forward a couple of weeks, the ad that the client wanted to turn off is now our number one ad out of the 2 that we were testing. And so I knew not to turn it off too soon. Does that mean that it always is a success? No, but if it would have stayed bad, I would have had more certainty that that ad wasn't going to work. I would have figured out why, and we would have been smarter because of it with what we do next. But in this case, it actually turned out great. It turned out to be our best ad out of the 2, even though it didn't start off that way. So you want to make sure you let things run long enough. How long you let things run is something hard to teach on a podcast because there's too many variables. It depends on your exact specific situation, how many people you're targeting, and so many other factors. I'd have to be working with you personally and specifically to tell you in your situation. But even if we don't work together, you can get better at reading and evaluating the data. I try and cover that a lot on my podcast. I've done previous episodes about it, and I'll do future ones too, because it is so important. But either misreading the data or not really paying attention enough to it can cause a lot of ads to fail. So really, bottom line, a lot of ads that fail are not failing because the economy's bad or you're not spending enough or you're spending too much. A lot of times it's a strategy problem. But once you know where to look and how to test these things and how to fix it, and you have stronger hooks, you have better audiences, you're testing things with just one variable, you're having smarter offers, and you test properly, and you have high-level data evaluation skills, I believe that gives you such an edge and such an advantage. And it's a formula and a system that I just keep using over and over again. And I believe it works extremely well for a lot of advertisers. And as always, just a reminder, it's always important to point out that every business is unique. Results can vary. There's no guaranteed outcomes. So always keep that in mind. So, my friends, I hope this was helpful. Episode 419 is in the books. If it helped you, maybe share it with someone that you know that might be struggling with ads, and certainly put this stuff into action yourself, more importantly. And I'll be back next Tuesday with another great episode. If you guys want to get in touch, philgrahamdigital.com is the website, or just DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and I will talk to you next week. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.